Okay, so this is my last video on the new rulebook for now. I was talking about the divine chart and how it's been updated, and then I'll talk about monsters, and then that'll be it. So the divine chart got updated, and a lot of the abilities were tried to fix them so they're a little less redundant, a little less useless, and kind of have some very specific purposes for each one, and they reflect the domains a bit more. Some of them are also trying to be a little less like just a standard ability, but something a little bit more specific. So the righteous auras is the big one, and I want to make sure I clarify them so that they get used correctly, because they're often something where people misunderstand how they're supposed to work. So reveal unseen is anything hit is visible to all for a 20 count, and this reveals illusions. This one's going to be interesting to playtest because hypothetically there's no way to know that the people should be visible. Like if I use reveal unseen as an aura, and I say register or reveal unseen, everybody around there should know that they can now see everybody in there for a 20 count. But people further away may not know that they can see those people. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But I think hypothetically it should work well, because it's really going to be most important for the people that are right there within ear shot of that to know, oh, I can see everything that was in that aura. For the next 20 count, I can see it. No matter if it's ethereal, whatever, I know it's invisible, I can see it, right? So that should hypothetically work, but we'll see if it actually works. Dispel destruction, I just clarified that it's prevent any effect that would destroy an item, which is something that I don't know if was in there before. And then empathic ray, or I just clarified that it does 1 damage to you, it doesn't do like 1 for every person that you hit or something like that. I added a cleansing aura, which clears poisons and mental effects, and also heals you for 1 hit point in a 20 count. That's the righteous aura for healing. Trickster has this disruption aura, which I just updated from disable, because disable doesn't hit in 8s and disruption does. So this is kind of an upgrade that you can like disable a giant strength, or something that has flying. You can disable its flying. So that's disruption aura. Ice blast aura, I changed. It deals 5 magic ice damage, and it says note this is not weather damage. That's mostly because it used to be, and I find the whole concept of having something be weather damage but be a righteous aura, but also be kind of feel like a spell, but it's also doing magic damage between ice, to be like really problematic to the thematics of the game. It's cleaner just to say it deals 5 ice damage. It's magic. It's just like a big blizzard that does damage kind of an idea. Is fine, and don't make it weather damage, because that really complicates it quite a bit. The prevent attacks aura is a little iffy when it comes to how it's going to work out. I hope it works, but the idea is that it prevents all attacks being made within the aura. That's at the moment you use it. So if fireballs are passing through, it should also stop those as they're about to hit you. Even if they originated outside the aura and they're about to hit you, you use it and then it doesn't work, is the idea. So it just prevents all attacks being made within the aura. But since it's such a key, you have to use it at just the moment as the attacks are being made. It just prevents them all. Timing will be an issue. So we'll see how it works out. The last one on this list is destruction, the rupture mark one, which is really that update from Flame Mage. Those hit can no longer use cap preventions this encounter. So it's just the exact same effect as rupture mark. That does mean that it's technically a spell, right? Just like disruption aura is technically a skill. Righteous aura is both a spell and a skill. So it's a skill that's delivering a spell, like empathic ray. So you could resist it with called magic resistance, then since rupture mark is a spell. So that's important to think about how that works. It's not effective rupture mark, it is rupture mark. Vital silence is the same. Kill wounded aura is the same. And then righteous aura, the prevent any skill being used is the same. Isolation aura is kind of an interesting one that I added, which is in Celestial, which is those hit cannot touch other players this encounter, which is really interesting. I mean, it might seem like it does nothing, but actually can do a lot. You couldn't first aid anyone after you've been hit by this aura. You can't awaken anyone after you've been hit by this aura, because that's touching them. You can't use any touch spells because that's touching them. You can't carry anyone because that's touching them. So this is actually, the isolation aura actually has potential to really mess with a lot of combos that people tend to use to continue encounters and make them go on forever. And so we'll see if it's too powerful. it may be that it needs to be adjusted, but that's the whole point of this playtest. There's a lot of changes also to the celestial chart. Some of the things I just fixed because they were picked all the time, like a missile magic resistance and things like that. So missile magic resistance is still there, but it only hits it only protects you from ball spells. And now you have dispel magic there, but only on ray spells. And then you have a spell trigger, but only from opponents. So only if an opponent drops, you can use spell trigger. There's things like that I adjusted to make it a little more interesting and less of a that's just the pick you always pick because that's the one you always pick, I think. Okay, some of the flaws. I fixed a lot of the flaws in here too to make them a little more playable. So there's vulnerable to damage from opponents instead of the ones we had before. Counter to those who drop you was updated. Must kill all down opponents at end of encounter, so that there's a little bit of time for players to kind of stop you or drop you, so you don't have to kill them. Must kill those who've already dropped this encounter. So if you've already dropped someone, that means that they get back up and you meet them again, and you're like, oh, you again, and then you have to kill them. So that's how that one's been updated. And then vulnerable to sleep and oracles, and can interrupt visions, messages, and worshippers. So you can't interrupt a worshipper. So if someone is worshiping, you cannot interrupt them. So if they're all there, at their evil shrine making evil sacrifices, you're like, sorry guys, I can't interrupt them. We have to wait till they're done, right? So it's things like that. Also, if a messenger shows up and he's like, I have a message for you, you're like, you can't attack him. Like, he's got a message for me. I got to listen to what it is. So that's sort of the idea. We'll see how it plays out. Hopefully it should be funny and fun and interesting. That's the whole point of the game. All right, moving on to monsters. Just quickly, I've added in all the sashes. I am planning on trying to do the double armor sashes this go. Where we have your innate armor underneath, and then on top of that you put the actual armor you're at. So if you're playing, say, a war troll that's wearing chainmail, right? Normally we just put on a red sash, that'd be it. But what I want to try this for this edition is that you put on a leather armor sash to indicate your innate armor, and then you put on the red sash over that the other direction. And that's an indication to then players that that's something with innate armor, and it has effectively half plate, but that's effective. And that actually tells you a whole lot of information, which I think is going to be really, really valuable to our gameplay. So here's a couple things it tells you. First, it tells you that thing could be a troll. Before, you had no clue it was a troll, actually. Just from the armor, you can kind of tell that could be a troll. Second, it also tells you what class it might be. Because since it has the leather, and then it has the half-plate mail, then you know it's wearing chain, because that's what that adds up to. So you're like, oh, well, that could be a barbarian. Before, if I just see you in half-plate mail and I don't know what species you are, I have no clue. Maybe you're a paladin, and maybe there are all kinds of things that you could be. And now I'm going to make certain assumptions. Whereas before with the double sashes, now with the double sashes, you should be able to tell a lot more information with just that one chain. The problem's going to be, I don't know if we have enough sashes, so we're going to try to buy more. But in the meantime, be patient because we're going to be low. Now the monster section, I don't even have time to go into it all. It took days and days. Just to change the slightest things, because there's so much formatting I had to do. Change the entire formatting just to add all the monsters in. It was really a nightmare to fix this section. There's a lot of changes to just new monsters in there. Some monsters have had increased strength, or there's a new strength stat listed now. Mana is now listed. Since mana is listed, I went ahead and gave a few creatures a little bit more mana than they had before. If you're going to have a stat listed, then might as well have it vary. There's the strength ranges. A lot of things got hit point increases too. If they're getting really, really huge, they just get a lot more hit points. I was doing that already in the game. It just wasn't something that I was putting in the rulebook. We worked a lot on this, updating this whole monster section, and it took way more time than it should have. In any case, hopefully it's useful. And there's a lot of information there. I couldn't possibly go through it all, but there's a lot more information in the monster section, and it took a long time to get it updated. Hopefully now that it's done, it won't take so long in the future. All right, that's it.